Welcome back to Real Repairs for Real Customers, where we don't use stock photos to advertise our work. I don't know if any of you were able to catch the World Chess Championship. It was kind of a snooze fest because Magnus Carlsen never lost a game. As expected, he's just such a beast, over the board. But what I enjoyed was running two streams, and therefore I could catch the running commentary of four of the world's top chess players, who are all geniuses, really, and it's fascinating to listen to them analyze in real time. So I really enjoyed that. The other thing I enjoyed was at the venue. I'm going to put that picture up here. At the venue, there are some sayings or slogans that were posted throughout. And the one that I liked here, every single move led you here. And I thought, isn't that so true of our work as it is in chess? It's like every repair led us to where we are now. And I thought you would really enjoy that perspective. The other thing is that I thought that I could use that really as a theme for our discussion this time. We are going to do boat cushion repair, but I thought I'd also interject a discussion based on some points from my training program that I have not yet included in our videos. So it'll be part discussion and part repair on this one. So how is it that every repair led me here? So hopefully I'll share some perspective. Certainly your journey to where we are now is different than mine, and your perspective will be different than mine. But if you can take away a point or two that helps you, then that's the goal, right? So what we have lined up this time, another boat repair. Now, the previous boat repair we showed that the customer had already glued this together, and we just repaired over top. But you might have asked, how would I have started this had it not been already put together? I think most of you know already. And as we look at this cushion, we have the similar kind of damage, but of course smaller. But the repair process for me would be exactly the same. So for some of you, this process will be a review because I think you know what I'm going to use. But for others, maybe not so much. But in our discussion, let's call this video The Secret to What Led Me Here. Okay, so one of the first things we're going to have to do here is to remove this back cover. Not all the way, we're just going to fold it back a little bit using our staple puller. Then as we get ready to do the repair, you guessed it, I'm going to use the baseball stitch to put this thing back together. And typically I will anchor that corner with just a single knot. And that way I can easily do each leg at a time. So that's pretty standard procedure. The one critical thing that I get from people on doing the baseball stitch is that it takes too long. We hear, I can do that repair way faster. And in fact, I had a colleague just do a demonstration, and the rebuttal that he got was, I can do it way faster than that. But really, a craftsman, the speed is important, of course, but that's not the main criteria. The criteria is what's required. We're not going to do more than is required or less than is required to do an actual repair. And so speed is not the main criteria. I don't understand that mental disposition. I don't really think that applies too much in our sphere of business, but it exists out there for sure. As a matter of fact, one of the most vocal critics, and with kind of a vile statements to me on my channel, is that the steering wheels are not repaired and he can do it way faster and way better. And the leather repairs take way too long and he can do them way faster and way better all day long. So the most vocal critics in my history that I've seen are the worst offenders out there. Then there's the speed by which people try to repair at the auctions. So we have an auction car here. We can see where the person grabbed an aerosol can, likely, and started spraying away without regard to what he was overspraying. So we see the seat belt buckle. We see the console, all up and everywhere on the console. The console lid has a couple of different colors. Then if we look inside the console, look at all the overspray in there. So maybe this was a 5-minute repair. I don't know if it takes that long to search for a close color. Overspray here on the stanchions for the headrest, and then down here on the B-pillar trim. So maybe it took 5 minutes, but how much time is it going to take me to correct this? First of all, we have to strip off the wrong color. We got to strip off the color from all the other parts. And when we strip the color from the plastic, what do? We craze the plastic. So now all of that inside there has got to be refinished. We're going to have to refinish all that black, all the black on the console, and all the tan color on the leather, both on the seat and on the console. So from the beginning picture to this ending picture, I spent an hour and a half. An hour and a half to correct somebody else's 5-minute repair. But they're the fastest that there are out there. So what can I say? Congratulations, right? Congratulations. But let's talk about time, because I've done similar where I've really tried to hurry a repair. I have a lot of repairs backed up. I'm really in a hurry to get through, and so I'll take a repair like this, put some vinyl repair compound in it, and heat it, and grain pad, and then I could kick myself because now I've got to go over and over and over to try to get it to look right. On a repair with the vinyl here, that flap, when you heat it, will shrink, which means that the void there gets bigger. So you go to correct it, and it shrinks some more, and the void gets bigger again. So you keep going and piling up your repair compound. Now you've got a lump there. The repair compound's too high. The vinyl's all wavy anyway. So how do you correct that? Well, I can't correct it here at this point. That is everything that really should have been addressed on the front end. But here I'm trying to correct it on the back end, going over and over and over, and it's impossible now to do. So I'm wasting time on the back end, and I'm having to either give up or to tear it all out and start over again. On the other hand, hopefully I'll remember the next time, start it right. And so the next time I'm going to start it right. I'm going to use the baseball stitch to anchor the corner. The baseball stitch will put all the vinyl together exactly where it came from. Okay. Then the other thing it's going to do, the stitch will physically hold that together. It will keep that flap from shrinking, and it'll keep that gap from widening. And in the case of leather, it keeps the edge from curling up and toasting also, where the only remedy to that is to cut it out. But in the vinyl, it holds it together, keeps it from shrinking. That's a bonus. The other thing it does, it puts the vinyl back in the perfect contour from which it came. So the flat parts are flat, the rounded parts are rounded. if you can get the contour perfect on a vinyl repair, that's a big deal. I'm sure you would agree. Now, the other thing it does, it puts the whole piece in tension so that it has the same tension as when the vinyl was stretched around and stapled on the bottom. That tension will serve to preserve that contour as you go about repairing. So that's a very important step. All of those things that the baseball stitch address at the front end are things you don't have to correct now at the back end of the repair. It's a wise investment of time. Now, if you think the baseball stitch requires too much time, my encouragement would be to practice it, get good at it, and get speedy with it. So getting fast with the baseball stitch seems to be your answer in that regard. It's my answer. It's part of what brought me here as we discuss this topic. So then, if we spend time on the back end of the repair, time spent there is time refining. You've seen me fix a little pinhole, something like that. We can spend whatever time that job requires to refine it as fine as we need to. But we're not spending time correcting, just refining. The end result is that when we're done, we've actually done a repair. And we've done something that we feel really good about. It affects our whole countenance. It affects our life in that sense of accomplishment. Our spirits are lifted because of that. So every day has that joy, that dividend that comes with repairing. Instead of every day being frustrating, every repair. Because if we can't correct it at the end, what are we going to say? We're going to say, well, it looks better than it did. Or we're going to say, it's better than it was. Well, let's talk about that. If we just do it up to a certain degree and say that's better than it was, what are we saying? We're saying it's not repaired. We're using that as an excuse. And just to prove that, we can put the two phrases together. It's not repaired, but it looks better than it did. It's not repaired, but it's better than it was. So what have we done? We've taken it from one state of disrepair to another state of disrepair. We've made a lateral movement. We haven't pushed our project forward at all. Moving forward would be it's in a state of disrepair and now it's repaired. But because we didn't do that, then we have to justify having not repaired it because we want to get paid, right? So the idea is to take the time on the front end then, that's the wisest investment of time, to attain to the repair status, not the it looks a little bit better status. It's going to affect our whole life, our whole outlook on our business, on our industry. It's going to affect everything. Now, who is saying, if I say that it looks better than it did or it's better than it was, who's saying that? Right? Just me, right? I'm the only person on earth that is saying that. Why? I'm trying to justify the fact that I haven't repaired it. And why do I have to justify it? Because I want to get paid. I've done all this work, all these materials, and I want to get paid. Should I get paid? Well, I haven't repaired it, so I have to justify it. Looks better than it did. Now, a customer could come along and say, oh, that seat looks terrible. Well, it looks better than it did. Well, the customer has no point of reference. The customer doesn't know what it looked like before, and they're not concerned about it. The customer says, it looks terrible. So they're not going to be interested in buying the car. I haven't helped the customer, at least. any little bit, have I? Now, sometimes the customer may not know better. And in the case of some of our used car managers at the dealerships, they don't know any better. They think that our industry just takes the damage and makes it look a little bit better than it did. Make it look a little better than it was. They think that's what our industry is all about. And I'll give you an experience. I worked for this dealership where they hired a new manager. Well, the manager, of course, wanted to bring his own repair guy with him. And that's understandable. That happens a lot in this business. Somebody that he's comfortable working with. And I would be perfectly understanding of that. But the owner said, no, we're going to use Rick. Well, that didn't sit very well with the manager. So for the first year, he apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently he was treating me badly. So he came to me one day and he apologized for the way he was treating me. And I didn't know the backstory behind this. And then he explains it. And his explanation was he thought that all repair techs did the same thing. They just made it look a little better and it lasted just a little while and that was it. And he said, I didn't know that what you did was different than what everybody else did. So what led me here, right? As the topic is. Well, what led me here was the striving to actually do the repair and not be satisfied with justifying, in my mind, that it looked better than it did, so let's let it fly, right? So anyway, that customer watches all my videos, so you know it has to be true. So the idea that this industry only just makes it improved a little bit, all of that is changing. Repairs are possible. So for those that want to stay there, continue to justify what they do so they continue to get paid, all that is going to be changing. So that's something to consider. Let's take another look at the expression, it's better than it was. Is that really true? Is it really true? Now, to some people that is true. To me, though, and I don't know if you'll feel the same way as I do about it, maybe not, but to me, if I see a vehicle with so many miles and it's got such and such damage on it, and the damage sort of fits the mileage, that's normal wear and tear. I can kind of live with normal wear and tear, right? I can understand that's typical. Now, for the same mileage car, if somebody has abused the car totally, that's obvious too. I wouldn't be happy buying a car that's been abused. Now, if the car has the same miles, but the damage has been tried to be repaired, is that better than it was? Well, to me now, that seat looks hacked, okay? The repair looks hacked. And I'm not comfortable with that. I can't really abide by that personally. And you think of a customer going to buy that car, he's going to think, what else is hacked, right? Is there a stop leak in the radiator? Is there paint over the rust? What else has been hacked on this car? I'm not comfortable with this car. I'm not comfortable with this dealer. I'm going to go shop elsewhere. So think about this too. If the car's been hacked, now, if your bank account was hacked, or if your Facebook page was hacked, wouldn't you feel violated? Isn't there certain being violated that goes with seeing a seat repair that's hacked? To me, that is. Right? I can't go with that. If it was normal wear and tear, I can understand with that. I can live with that. So, but if it's hacked, it's not better than it was. It doesn't look better than it did. It's worse than it was. And that's just my opinion, but that's part of what led me here as our theme for our discussion. Now, there are occasions when we will be requested to do something we don't want to do. We may have suggested to the used car manager, for example, that he take a car to the upholstery shop, and he's not going to do that. In fact, we have a video coming up sometime in the future where we will address that as well. So anyway, the dealer may say, no, I want this car out on the lot by 5 o'clock. I can't send it to the upholstery shop. I want you to do the best you can. We know we can't repair that. Right? I know that I can't spend all day at that. I'm going to allocate a certain amount of time that I might normally repair something, and I'm going to do the best I can within that amount of time. So then when I'm done, is it repaired? No. Is it hacked? Yes, I've hacked it. However, have I done as requested? Yes. Have I met the terms and conditions of the repair? Yes. And so I don't have to justify getting paid. I do the same thing with my retail customers. I try to give them a realistic expectation of what the repair is going to bring them. I've mentioned this before. I almost inevitably tell the retail customer, I aim for 100%. Typically, though, in the repair world, you're going to fall a couple percentage points short of that. But the end result is still that it's going to be useful. It's going to look good. We're going to blend the grain from the repair into the original texture to blend it out. So you, having a heightened awareness of it, might be able to see something, might slightly be able to detect something, but no one else would ever be able to find it if you ask for them to find it. Say something like that. So then when you're done with the repair, is it perfect? No. But is it repaired? Yes, because you've met the terms and conditions of the repair. So that is a little caveat to what we were talking about before, about it looks better than it did. It can look better than it did. It may not be perfect, and it is repaired if we have met the terms and conditions, if we have repaired it as requested. So we can feel good about that. So what led me here then? Well, each repair is, for me, a stepping stone. I can do a repair, not be happy with it. I can try to justify it and say it looks better than it did. But that doesn't mean that the next time I'm not going to try to make that repair a little better. And I'll be thinking about it. I'll sometimes lie awake at night thinking, what can I do? I'll take that idea the next day and try it in the field. It doesn't work. So it's back to the drawing board and try it again. So over time, I don't have to feel bad necessarily, because each repair, even though it wasn't totally good yet, is nonetheless a stepping stone. It's a stepping stone to get out of this quagmire and out of this quicksand that so many technicians are in. It's the justification quicksand. It looks better than it did. Let's move on, collect my money. Every repair could be a stepping stone out of that quicksand. And so, as it was similar with the baseball stitch, my first repair was on a nude leather, so it was gapped wide open. I had to sew it together, and I couldn't do anything further. I used a similar color thread, and it sold the vehicle. So then I began to think, would this same technique work on a finished leather, where you could actually repair over the stitching? Well, how are you going to do that? Because now the stitching is on top of the leather. Well, could it be ironed and make it flat? And in the case here, we're talking about our boat seat repair. Can that stitch be ironed flat with the vinyl? Well, we don't know until we try it. We give it a try on our next go, right? And it works out, yes. Now, what if we still had to blend the repair with a graining pad and a heat gun method? Well, we do that too? Yes, and it works good now. After the ironing, we can use that method. Now, someone may say that takes way too long because you've got 3 repair methods there. You've got stitching, you've got the ironing, you've got the heat gun and grain pad method. You've got 3 repair methods in one. But the end result is it's repaired. It's repaired. And if we have practiced our stitching and we get that done in good time, then we have a great end result. So that's how, in this case with the boat seat and this vinyl, every repair prior to this seat has been a stepping stone. So now when we get to this end of this repair, we can see that the vinyl is all the same. The repair and the vinyl is all, you can't distinguish from the repair and the original vinyl in this area. We can squeeze it, we can poke it, anything, and you cannot tell. That's repaired. We don't have to justify anything. It is repaired. We can take it back with full confidence that we've made the owner of this boat happy. We made the boat dealer happy. We've cemented this good relationship with the dealer and his customer. Okay, so by way of review, let's take a look at this seat repair. I can tell you something about this guy just looking at the repair. His pants are all different kinds of colors. His hands are all different kinds of colors. He speaks with a Texas accent. I cheated on that. I was told it was done in Texas. Well, this guy was taught by somebody who was taught by somebody who was taught by somebody back in the day. And none of that generation of teachers ever thought that it was necessary to spend any money to further their education, to travel, to go to a seminar, to consult with other repair techs, to do any networking, to see if somebody has some other ideas in the last 40 years. When you think of how technology has advanced just in the last couple of years, you would think that there's probably been some improvements in the repair industry in the last 40. No, because they know it all already, and this guy doesn't have to do anything further than this. The vinyl, or I'm saying the leather is humped up here because of the vinyl subpatch. There's a great big gap that he has to fill in with the vinyl repair compound. You could never pull that leather together. So he gets finished, and of course there was color, I'm sure, at one time on top of this vinyl repair compound. But when he got done, packed up all his gear, what did he say? Well, looks better than it did. But does it? Or does it look hacked to you? Okay. You know how I feel about it. So, if it was repaired, why did it come from there to me to get repaired? Well, so this is the engine, what you're looking at, the engine that has been driving our industry for decades. The engine is not actually repairing, justifying what's being done, and still getting paid. The fact is that we can do it faster by not repairing. We can do it faster by trying to justify in our minds that we've helped it some, when that's only our opinion. I can justify it all day long and keep putting those stock numbers on the invoices just as fast as I possibly can put them down there, and I can make a great living doing that. I don't want to upset that apple cart, right? That is a great gig. These people tend to not, they don't want the secrets out. That's the way they say it. We don't want our repair secrets out. Then that's not the good way of looking at it. That's an old-fashioned way of looking at things, and things have truly changed. So the only secret that this guy doesn't want to get out is that he can not repair all day long and still make a lot of money. And what he doesn't want to do, because this is such a sweet gig, he doesn't want to improve his repair if the repair process is going to take a little bit longer, because that means in his mind's eye that he's going to make less money. He can make more money faster, and he's probably the fastest guy out there. But the thing that's true in our industry now is that more and more people are being educated. So used car managers are becoming aware that real repairs can be done. And so this fella may have to make some decisions in the near future. Step up his game and get some further education, or because the used car manager is looking for a vendor that does real repairs, he might be, out of the business. He might be on the street. But probably, fortunately for him, there are people with enough low standards that he can probably still sell enough work to and make a living. That's the engine that continually runs in our industry, unfortunately. So what can I do about this particular repair? Well, we mentioned that if we started it wrong, it can be almost impossible then to correct it on the back end. And that's true with this repair as well. We're going to have to pull out all of that vinyl repair compound so we can join the leather together. How are we going to do that? Well, just like we've demonstrated with the vinyl boat seat. We've got to take that subpatch out of there and try to get that leather now to lie down as much as we possibly can. It's been bulged up here for quite a while, so counteracting that kind of memory with the leather is going to be tough. But the baseball stitch will help to solve that problem for us. It'll put the leather back together, it'll put it back in tension, and over time I think any telltale signs of the previous repair will be gone. So that's exactly what we've done. Now we can say it looks better than it did. But this time, it's not an excuse, it's not a justification, it's because it really is repaired. Thanks for watching.